2001 Voltswagen CABRIO front brake job. Today we're going to be using the name brand of Pro Stop disc brake pads. I like this name brand because of what they give you in their sets. You know, it's not something that you'll come across all the time. Usually I use wherever. But this one is model number PS704M. Links will be in the description box below. Made in China, semi-metallic, OE grade friction material, dependable braking, long pad life. The cool thing about these are, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, they give you just about everything you need. As soon as you open up the box, it gives you indicators right here. Normal disc brake wear. And it tells you what your brake pads should look like. Wear pattern and the signal. Normal wear. It also tells you about abnormal disc brake wear. It tells you the wear pattern, one side or the other, and it will tell you for the signal that the caliper or caliper piston is hanging up, caliper side not functioning correctly. And with this one, you see the little jagged edges right there. That is because the rotors should be turned or replaced because they got grooves in them, probably from metal to metal wear. And then it goes down through here for maximum pad life and performance, gives you some suggestions. To turn or replace your rotors, replace brake hardware with each brake job, or burnish your pads with your rotors, to your rotors. Sorry about that. To complete the process, make 10 to 15 stops from 30 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour, allowing 30 seconds in between for each stop. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you know, it gives you some suggestions here to follow. And also with this set, it does give you your new dust boots here, your new slide bolts, and it gives you your brake pads, all wrapped up plastic, nice, secure. Usually you see hardware with these things, but they actually give you the new fasteners and boots, so that's cool. Now, some of the first things you're going to need is a breaker bar, a lug wrench, something of that nature, 17 millimeter 6-point socket preferred. I got a Craftsman 1/2-inch breaker bar here, and then of course you're going to need a jack and jack stands. And all I'm going to do here is break the lugs loose. I'm not going to take them off. I'm just going to crack them loose while they're sitting on the ground with the weight of the car. Then put the jack under it. Now that I got the jack underneath it, I'm going to take 1/2-inch ratchet extension here. And then I'm going to pull these lugs right off. Again, if you got an impact, this is better. But for the do-it-yourself route here, I want to be as realistic as possible. Now these are going to be your fasteners. When they're out, just set them to the side and get the wheel off. If these are stuck on the rim, you can spray some deep creep in behind it here, WD-40, PB Blaster, something of that nature, or start packing around the outside, back and forth, with a little bit of force at a time, and it'll pop right off. And then this is what you're going to be looking at. It's probably a T30 rotor screw right there. Help hold the rotor on. And here is your fasteners that holds the caliper on that you're going to need to take off. Now these are going to be a 13 millimeter. We got us a wrench that we can use to break those loose with, and we got us a flex head ratchet. Link in the description box below. This is a JobSmart 3/8 drive flex head, relatively cheap for anyone who would like to have one, doesn't have that much money to get one. This might be right up your alley. Now when you're doing this, if you haven't heard, lefty loosey, righty tighty, so make sure the ratchet's set in the right direction to loosen it up and then put it on here. That way it's less confusion for you on both sides of the vehicle. And then you just put your ratchet on and apply torque little at a time. Now that it's broken loose, we're going to be putting the other wrench right here and holding this fastener to continue loosening this one. And it's going to be a 15 millimeter hex. Now with the ratchet holding it there, we can turn it. Once it's nice and loosened up, you want to go to the bottom and do the exact same thing. You can feel it right here, and you can feel the other hex right there. Once they start getting loosened up, you can turn them out by finger. Now when you pull the fasteners out, set them to the side, and then start to pry your caliper loose. Don't let it hit the ground, which is what caliper hooks are made for. Once you pull it off there, hook your hook into place, and you can attach it up here to your coil spring. Keep it out of the way. Inspect your caliper. Match up your brakes. Now the pads we just pulled off here is still in perfectly good shape. We got the new ones here, which the customer can put in their trunk, and we're just going to reinstall these and show you how it's done, and then we'll pull and check their back ones later on. So we're going to set the caliper here and then carefully install these back to where they was at. The spring will put pressure in there as we put them on the actual rotor. But while we got them apart, we're going to go ahead and pull these slides out, make sure that they've been greased, and we're going to grease them, make sure that the little dust boots here is not torn. Since we got new ones, we'll go ahead and grease these slides up. Just dip her in some brake grease and carefully lube the shaft in and out. If you push it, you'll feel the pressure pop out, and it'll lock it into place with suction. And next you'll want to guide these over those slide bolts, over the rotor, and put them back into place. Line one of the top ones up first, start a bolt, work your way down to the bottom, and even it out. Do the same thing. If you have issues, you can get down here on the bottom and guide this thing into place. Get a good shot of it right there. Shoes should set up against these, flush. You might have issues with the spring, have to maneuver them around a little bit as you're sliding the caliper back on and bolting it down. Then you go back in reverse, you put your open end wrench on here, put your ratchet socket on the other side, proceed to tighten them up, top and bottom. Yep. So we got all this hooked back up, checking it out, and here's what we're noticing here. This whole piece is moving. Don't believe that that should be happening. That would be struts. Oh yeah, there's the problem. Okay, so we're going to reassemble the wheel just how we took it off, make sure it's nice and tight, and then the next project is going to be checking out the shocks.